We're back to the Total Tutor Show, powered by the Beach Lifestyle Celebrity segment on the Simply G Media Network. Again, go to simplyg.com. That's simplyg.com to find out information on GJ Reynolds, the Playful, Powerful Warrior. My website, again, is totaltutor.net. And GJ, I tell you, I am so excited because I'm a huge basketball fan. Go ahead and introduce this guest. It just keeps getting better and better and better, doesn't it?
It definitely does, and obviously being a huge basketball fan myself. Although today I feel a little short with two 6'9", 6'10" guys, so I'm feeling like the short one. But I grew up playing basketball and still play basketball, and I'm in my early 50s, and this gentleman gave a lot of excitement through the years, especially in the 70s. Played for the Boston Celtics, and he's a two-time NBA champion, and I could go on and on and on all the accolades that he has. All NBA, everything from all the way from rookie of the year, and then he was voted as one of the top 50 players of all time, and as a Hall of Famer. And please welcome number 18 of the Boston Celtics, Dave Cowens. How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing great today, my man. How are you?
Awesome. And
good.
I was thinking about all these great memories of you playing and your tenacity and everything that you did on the court, and now it's transcended off the court, which we're going to talk about. Plus, we're going to talk about your new book. It was just all these old memories were coming up for me, and just seeing that green and white.
Oh, you're having some flashbacks. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I'm having a bunch of flashbacks. They're all good ones.
Oh, good. That's wonderful. We had a good time doing it. I was lucky to be on a good team back there. We had, Havlicek and JoJo White and Don Nelson and Paul Silas and Don Chaney. And, we had 5 guys on that team that went on to become head coaches in the NBA.
Wow.
Might be a record for having one team have that many become head coaches, and it's pretty honored. And the one guy, our best player, was Havlicek, and he decided he didn't want to coach.
Wow,
so it's kind of easy.
Well, absolutely, Dave. So now, again, what's really interesting is the connection. We have a great entrepreneur. We have 2 great entrepreneurs on the show for sure, in yourself and GJ Reynolds. And Dave, you decided to write a book about business when you were a basketball player and coach, and I guess color commentator and many different things. Why write a book about business?
Well, I was approached by Tom Raffio and Barbara McLaughlin when I did a little speaking engagement at Mexico for these guys in the insurance business from the New England area that are top performers. They take guys that do well and take them on a little trip, and they invited me to go along because I know some of those guys in the business from up here in Maine where I live. And I happened to meet, and they wanted me to talk about, different things. So when I started talking, Tom Raffio had been in the process of writing a book about his experiences running Northeast Delta Dental along with Barbara. And when I started talking, he said there was a lot of the points that I made were almost like chapter headings for the book that he had already started writing. So he said, wouldn't it be interesting if we could use sports analogies to go along with what I do at Northeast Delta Dental, and have made that and have grown that business. And so he was talking about trying to create a business for long-term success, not just a short term, but something that's going to endure over time. So we talk about how players who do prepare and how they're very conscientious about improving their own game and focusing on what makes them good and growing from there, and then teams on how they draft and how they set up their businesses. Like, why are the Celtics, were they good for so long? Why are the Lakers good for so long? Why are were the Montreal Canadiens, the Yankees, and all these different franchises that were good over the span of decades and decades? What makes them different? So that's how I came to be a co-author on this book with Tom and Barbara. So for me, it was kind of easy because all I had to do was, sort of fill in some of the blanks and add to what they had already written was sort of the meat of the book, is about their business and how they've grown their business and the different decisions they've made and how they treat it to grow their business over the long haul, and how they treat their employees, how they service their customers, and now a big thing is how are they going to deal with the whole Affordable Care Act and how that changed their business and how they had to be one step ahead so that they didn't lose some of their value.
Very interesting, David. And I think that what you're seeing is specifically that there's a connection between business and sport and sports in so many aspects. And GJ, you see that all the time. Again, you said you were this big time athlete, G, and you like to, but also ultimately you connect a lot of your goals and business related to sports, right, G?
Well, let me clarify one thing. I wasn't this big-time athlete.
Come on, G. No, Dale Brown would
you're
think. Dale Brown thinks you're a legend, right?
You are a legend in your own mind. I know
that. Exactly.
That's right.
And I have many people to put their stamp of approval on that. Now, I did play competitive basketball, and to my 40s, and I'm a former military sergeant, so I do.
There you go.
I look at everything that I do from a team standpoint and a community standpoint, in business, and everything I learned on the court and in the military, I definitely apply on a daily basis. So obviously you're doing that too, Dave. So what would you say are the two ties for you? Some of the top three components of playing team sports and basketball and business that you see go hand in hand with one another?
Well, I think, as a coach, you have to have a vision. You have to kind of know where you're trying to go and have a goal. And then you have to sort of explain that goal as a coach and as an owner. Say, here's all the people that are involved in this, the players, the coaches, the trainers, everybody that's promoted. Here's what we're trying to accomplish. And here's the premise that we're working on. And here's our principles. And here's how we're going to operate. So somebody's got to kind of organize that view. And then you try to recruit people that fit with that particular vision that you have and the way that you want to operate your business. And so you can look at that as somebody that's going to hire employees to answer the phone, take care of the book, service the clients, make decisions with your board of directors, who your board of directors are going to be. Or you can look at it as, well, we're going to hire as a coach, an assistant coach, a certain player who plays a certain way, and that sort of a thing. So there's some commonalities there. So first of all, it's just the vision. Then it goes into personnel. Well, what type of people do you want to be involved in? And Red Auerbach used to always say, I recruit talent, but also recruit character. I want somebody that's going to be able to help other players and not just be totally into themselves. Take over when you're supposed to, but defer when you're supposed to, and be a good team player, be a good locker room guy. Don't cause problems. Don't second guess. Keep those lines of communication open. So all those different things are important in business as well as in sports. And then you got to keep your eye on the prize. You got to have, you got to be able to know how to keep score and track yourself and evaluate yourself objectively all the time. And so you don't become a legend in your own mind. You become exactly what you are and what you're contributing. And like if you're in the military, you got to know, well, I'm not going to put somebody that can't shoot straight out there, being a sniper for me. You know what I mean? So you got to know who can do what best. And then you have to try to help develop those people on the workplace and give them the tools to work with, advance within, and it just, so there is an awful lot of commonality because as we know, sports on the professional level and the college level, is certainly a big business. I often say you should put the sports page right in the business section because everybody cares about what everybody makes more than they care about how many points they average.
Exactly. And Dave, I guess in the whole process, when you talk about all those key components, you have to have a great atmosphere as well. And being the co-author of that book, you had to explain to people in a lot of ways, your other authors, that in business, same thing, and in sports, if you don't have a good atmosphere, you're not going to have happy employees, and you're not going to have happy employees, you're not going to produce, right?
Exactly. And, at Northeast Delta Dental, what they do is they describe the kind of environment that they establish in Concord and wherever they are, and how they treat, like, I'll give you an example. When you call there, if you call Northeast Delta Dental and you get somebody answers the phone, they are responsible for getting you to somebody who can take care of your needs. And that next person you talk to is going to be the person that's going to hope to answer your question within 4 minutes.
Right.
It's not going to be, okay, well, you got to wait for somebody else, and then you're going to get put on hold, and then you're going to wait for somebody else, and then somebody hangs up on you, got to call back. See, it's, your first opportunity to impress somebody, is right now. And so you take care of business, and so the top people in the company, empower the folks that are answering the phone to take care of some business on their behalf. And if they err, so they don't look at that as a problem, they look at that as an opportunity to help that person get smarter and more efficient. And then they also encourage them to get involved in the community. So they give them time off. They're out on the work at home, So it creates a good family atmosphere so that they know that the people at the top are taking care of the people at the in all areas of the business. And so the guy who's in the boardroom should be able to feel at home in the place where where the mail's being given out, or they're making copies. That's the kind of environment that they have there, and it's pretty awesome. If I after meeting them, Tom and Barbara, and going to their business up there in Concord and meeting all their employees, if I wanted a job in the insurance business, I would want to go and work there, because I know I would be happy, and I know that I would be nourished every day to do a good job, to do a better job, and I would want to help the team there. And they have a great environment. So that's what they're talking about when they're saying, to sustain a business long term, that's what they're talking about. And the no do-overs part in the beginning is that there are times when you have to make a big decision. All right, it's like, okay, we got the number one pick. Well, you don't get the number one pick all the time. You better not make a mistake. Right. So there's no do-over there. You know what I'm saying? Like Cleveland right now, they got to be kicking themselves because they took this guy Bennett, who, he hasn't done a thing for them. And they're saying, we had a number one pick, and that's who we drafted. Well, I hope this guy comes alive sooner or later. But maybe he won't. Well, that's a huge opportunity missed, and it may take a long, long time for them to recover.
I like the idea when you talk about there are no do-overs, that we got to make decisions, Dave, and I'm going to touch upon this with GJ as well. GJ, that you got to make decisions and think about those decisions and know that, especially if you have the opportunity, you have to jump on it and rise to the occasion, right, G?
Well, correct. And, as Dave says, if you got the number one pick, you got to make the right choice. And in business, you're always going to be making some type of decision. And the key is to make the best decision with the information that you have. And another thing that Dave shared too, the great Red Auerbach, he recruited talent, but he also recruited character. And, all those are factors that created a winning atmosphere. And it sounds like Delta Dental has created a winning atmosphere. And obviously, you played, in your career and also in coaching, they're creating that winning atmosphere. And so that everybody feels part of the team and everybody's clear about what they have to do and making those right choices, whether it's the player or the person answering the phone or the chairman of the board. You're going to have those decisions and then people get coached up. You know how that works. Somebody comes in and they have
basic skills, and so then you try to get them better, so you coach them up. So they're coaching up everybody in every division of their business, just like a coach and the assistant coaches would work with different players and coaching them up, get them more savvy about what's expected of them and how to watch film and the importance of watching film and the importance of practicing a certain way and trying to get something done every day. Just don't go to practice and say, okay, I'm here, I can't wait to leave. No, every time you go to practice, try to get something done.
Yes.
You try to grow a little bit as a person, as a player. And that's when it just incrementally you get better and better and better. And then it just spreads like wildfire throughout because people see and they copy. And that's a big part of basketball is just copying. Nobody ever dunked the ball like Connie Hawkins or Dr. J or somebody, but once somebody saw that, everybody could say, man, I'm going to try to aspire to do that. It's like the guy that broke Bannister, that broke the 4-minute mile. All of a sudden, after that, everybody was breaking the 4-minute mile that was a good runner. They didn't think they could do it, so there was a mental logjam. So that happens in business as well. People see there's possibilities, and then they aspire to that.
Absolutely, Dave. And what did you learn from the book, writing the book with the other co-authors? What did you learn specifically? I guess, again, you being a sports guy, and sports is definitely where you started seeing the relationships in between, especially being with Coach Red Auerbach and the whole team atmosphere of the Celtics, and then the relationship in business of a successful business.
Well, I just learned that I could do this, that I could write, and I could be part of a team that was putting a book together. A lot of people always say, you ought to write a book. I said, well, I could write a comic book. That would probably be fitting. My book would be about 6 pages long of anything that'd be halfway interesting to read. But this was way for me, just like I've always done. Instead of being like I'm the big star, I was always just. And as I said when I was inducted into the Hall of Fame, I just thought that I was a really good teammate. And I felt like that's what I did with this book. I was a good teammate. They said, here's what we're going to talk about here. We're going to, try to find the right players for the right position in our business. And how do you do that in basketball? How do you develop a player's skill? How do you keep the team healthy? These are sort of chapter headings. And you play all out. How do you earn trust? How do you play as a team? Communicating. You pay attention to the score. Well, all those things, they said, well, here's what we're writing about in the book. Is there an analogy to sports that I would think about it, about my playing career or my coaching career? And I would say, oh, yeah, this kind of pertains. And then I would write a little story about that, an anecdote. So that was kind of easy for me because I didn't have to start it and finish it. I just added to. And something that I was very familiar with. And, if you remember being in school when you're given a term paper to do, what's the hardest thing? Try to get started.
Yes.
I didn't have to get started. All I had to do was fill in as they went along because that was already done for me.
All right, we're talking Dave Cowens, Hall of Fame basketball player, now author, and I think he would definitely, his memoir would be an interesting book, Dave, so you can't keep that off. That at one point will be on your bucket list at one point to do that. And I know you.
I'm getting close to that bucket list.
No, I hope not. No, definitely not. And neither you or G. So GJ, what we've been able to hear from Dave is, again, that relationship. And I think that you use analogies of sports all the time, GJ, when we run our business. Isn't that true?
True, and Dave said it best. He says I looked at myself as being a good teammate, and each person on the team has a function, and sometimes the star players got to take control of the game, and sometimes the subs got to come into the game for whatever reason, and they've got to rise up too. And Dave also brought up raising people up, and whether it's in sports or it's in business, and Dave gave some great analogies. And one thing we haven't actually given the title of the book, I just realized, so I apologize, Dave, but Dave's book is There Are No Do-Overs, the Big Red Factors for Sustaining a Business Long Term. And we talk about sustainable business and doing the right things, and Dave's touched on some key aspects of the business. And one of the things we talk about here is, we're always talking about challenges, and we don't see problems, we just see challenges. And and whether it's a challenge to be a better basketball player or be better at business. And I live on a 90-day challenge. So what do you see your 90-day challenge for yourself, and also where we can find more information on you and your book?
Well, the book, when where I come in, it says the Big Red Factors. Well, you go to bigredfactors.com. That's our website. And then you'll learn an awful lot more about the book and how to purchase it. There's hardcover, there's paperback, and then you can go on Amazon and get an ebook. It's pretty cheap. We're talking about, 140 pages. It's not a big book. There are no pictures, no compromising positions on any of us or any, that kind of stuff. It's just a nice, it's not a telltale book. It's a factual book. It's a book that really is sort of a how-to. I mean, you can use this book and the fundamentals that are in this book in terms of running a business and how you treat people and how you coach people up in your business. If you're running a charity, just in your own home, how you deal with your kids, your parents, your in-laws, and that whole family environment, how you can learn how to treat people better and how to incentivize people. There's a lot of good hints in here outside of just helping you in business. And it also is an affirmation of people that are doing all the right things. They read the book and they say, yeah, I do that. Wow, I am doing the right thing.
Right.
And so, it's really good that way. For me right now, this book is over. We're promoting it. And like I say, you can go to bigredfactors.com. There Are No Do-Overs is the name of the book. But for me right now, I've been doing some color studio work for Comcast New England and the Celtics. So that's a whole new profession. You guys are in the media. You understand what it's all about. You can say, well, Dave, you've been a player and you've been a coach, so you know what you're talking about. That's only half the battle. Content's only a little part of it. You got to know how to be a on-air personality. You have to know how to punch it, when it's time to punch it. You got to organize your thoughts and get it done, in a 15, 20-second deal. You can't go on and on and on. And so the challenge is to organize your thoughts quickly, give it a beginning, middle, and end, punch it when you need to, be excited all the time, and that's what you learn, and that's my challenge right now.
Well, absolutely, is to learn that, and we're learning as we go as well, GJ and I, and especially because again, the more you do it, the better you become at it, and you're very knowledgeable, Dave. So when we talk about somebody as that color commentator, is to provide that resource that not many people have that knowledge at, and you definitely do a great job at that. And people need to definitely go and purchase the book. And GJ, that's something we definitely have to have our team go ahead and purchase this book as well, right, G?
Well, absolutely, and I collect books, Dave, and I know what it's like to write a book. I wrote one. I'm actually in the process of completing my second one.
Wonderful.
And so I know that there's a little vulnerability being out there, and also being on-air personality. There's a lot of vulnerability out there, and you get so many key points about being successful in business and in life, so I thank you for coming on the show and sharing it. And also, I realized today you have a pretty good sense of humor. I was looking at that tough guy on the court. You don't want to go down. You don't want to go down on the baseline. He's going to get taken out. So I guess
I'm all about peace and love, man. I'm a '60s guy. You talking? Come on now.
And it came across, and I see that. So thanks for being real, and we'll definitely get your book. And
what's the name of your books?
My book is The Playful and Powerful Warrior Within You, and it's the steps that took me from being depressed and suicidal to living a pretty darn good life as a successful entrepreneur, and that part of my mission is just to help help people reclaim their personal power and be successful entrepreneurs, since that's really my niche, so I will definitely pass on what you're doing and continue to share, and we'll promote that. And, hopefully at some point our paths can cross, and meet face to face.
That'd be awesome.
Absolutely. GJ would be looking up, especially if all three of us met face to face. You and I would look face to face, Dave, but not GJ. So I had to put that. So yeah, we'd have to show you a picture. But Dave, thanks again for calling. Best of luck to you at the book, and it was a pleasure talking to you and sharing your story of business and life in so many ways. So thanks for calling.
All righty then. Appreciate it. Thanks for letting me be on the show with you.
All right, take care, Dave. See you later.
All right.
Bye-bye. All right, you're listening to the Total Tutor Show, powered by the Simply G Media Network celebrity segment on the Beach Lifestyle Radio Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.